Hi, everybody, and welcome to another week of the Celebrity Creator Show. Brian, welcome to tonight's show.
I'll welcome
We're
right back at you.
we're here. We're here. You know, something that people do not see. Brian is phenomenal. I'm going to introduce Brian tonight first this week, but he puts a lot of little things together and a lot of big things together, and sometimes they get a little bit crazy. But look at how cool, calm, and collected he is tonight. Yay! Anyway, I just want to tell everybody who has not been on our show with us before a little bit about my dear friend and co-creator, co-founder, along with me for the Celebrity Creator Show, my dear friend Brian Kelly, who, as a matter of fact, has been a software engineer for over 24 years. I'm thinking I'm going to have to flip the scale on that here pretty soon. I don't know, but I'm thinking it's getting close. In addition to that, Brian co-owned a travel-based MLM for 6.5 years. That just gives you a little bit of his background on the internet. In addition to that, Brian also has been very successful in affiliate marketing. He is very adept at social media marketing. I just want to tell you, he has several Twitter accounts, and that just brought to mind. He also has a fabulous site. It's called TwitterNet Marketing. It's a Ning site that he has for sale right now. And what goes with it is 50,000 plus Twitter followers. And that's free because you can't sell that part, right? But if you have any interest in that, click on the link above and connect with Brian on that. It's absolutely fabulous. Now, back to the other things that he does. As you can see, all the beautiful graphics and all of this stuff around us, and also the show that comes each week. That's all things that Brian puts together. He's absolutely phenomenal. Working on a book, he speaks from the stage and speaks to many people. He's personable. He's my friend, and I'm glad to call him my business partner. Brian, welcome to the show.
Good grief, you raised the bar yet again. Knock it off, Kathy. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Well,
It's well
everybody,
deserved.
that's our show. Thank you for tuning in. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right, my turn. I would like to introduce my personal, very good friend and business partner, Kathy Stover, who brings with her a wealth of experience beyond measure, including an operations and sales manager for over 25 years with a Fortune 500 company. Now, she's very, very good at sales. She combines that now with her internet experience, and that's in the marketing realm through network marketing dating back to the mid 80s, also affiliate marketing since the early 90s. And that's where she really began to shine and really excelled, was in affiliate marketing. So I always affectionately call her the affiliate marketing queen. You should probably look that up.com. She's also an author and speaker. She owns a few Twitter accounts in her own right. Just to let everybody know, I own 60 and she owns about 60 Twitter accounts specifically. I use those for social media marketing. And to that end, she is a very proficient at Facebook, a highly successful social media coach. She spoke from the stage as well, and we are going to be speaking more often as the days go by. More prowess about her sales prowess is power seller at eBay. She has a certificate hanging right in front of her on that wall that she's staring at. Well, she's staring at the camera, but behind that. And she's also a top-rated seller on eBay. So she brings just an unbelievable wealth of experience and talent to the table, and that's why she is my business partner, and no one else can have her. Right back to you, Kathy. Let's get this show rolling.
Oh, thank you so very much. Yes, we want to talk about our special guest because she is absolutely phenomenal. She is not only our special guest, we have gotten to know this incredible woman. Her name is Linnea Millette. Linnea is a professional speaker, author, and radio show host. As a person with a profound hearing loss, Linnea reads lips to help her hear. She is a recipient of the Otacon Focus on People Award given to 12 individuals nationwide who defy stereotypes about being hearing impaired. Linnea demonstrates that no disability or adversity defeats those who are determined to accomplish and achieve. Linnea Millette has been featured in UCLA Today, UCLA Spotlight, and honored with a nomination for the Chancellor's True Bruin Award for her service to the UCLA research community. She was a district governor for Toastmasters International in 2003 and 2004 and received awards for her leadership successes. We are so proud not only to call her our special guest tonight, but also our friend. We would like to welcome Linnea Millette. Welcome, Linnea.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me.
Hi, Linnea.
It's an
Welcome to
honor
the
to be
show.
here.
So you had a little something you wanted to kick this off with, if you don't mind.
Yes,
Share that
yes,
with.
I did. For those of you who have not heard me before and maybe didn't just hear Kathy tell you of my challenges, I sound funny because I'm German. No. That's a line that was given to me by a great comedian. And I have found that it really breaks the ice immediately with the audience because people are, they're a little uncomfortable. They're not sure how to respond. And if they don't know what's up with me at all, they really do spend time wondering, now, what is that accent? So that's what it is. It's really a speech impediment. I cannot say the sounds that I do not hear. So with the loss in the high frequencies, I can't say S's, CH's, sounds that, would make me sound more articulate.
And Linnea, your story is truly a magnificent one and a very inspiring one. Would you mind just for a moment sharing what your story is, starting from the beginning and how it all became, the way it is now?
I'd be delighted. The hearing loss is a result of a high fever when I was 4 years old. I was not born with this hearing loss. I remember very vividly laying on the sofa, tossing and turning. They had naugahyde sofas in those days. Do they make naugahyde sofas anymore?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Pits. They're terrible. You never want to sit on one if you have a sunburn. But anyhow, I was on a naugahyde sofa, and my brother kept putting the covers over me because I was kicking them off. I was very hot. I remember my mom's hand on my forehead, and she said to my brother, "Your sister has a fever of 106 degrees.
Wow.
Wow.
106 is burning off the high frequencies of one's hearing." About a month or so later, we were sitting in a parking lot waiting for my dad to return from the hardware store, and she had a watch. In those days, we wound up watches. Remember those days?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
maybe. Oh, God.
Yes.
I'm dating myself. And she held the watch up to one ear, and she said, "Linnea, can you hear this?" And I couldn't hear anything. She held it up to the other ear, could not hear any ticking. So she took me in for an evaluation at the fantastic Children's Hospital, and it was determined that a significant portion of my hearing had been lost due to that fever.
Wow.
So that's how it started. I went to a special school from 3rd to 6th grade, or actually half of 7th grade. And I left for 2 reasons. Number one, I found the curriculum too slow. But the other reason is because there was a boy there that teased me all the time since 3rd grade. And I
Wow.
had enough. So I just left that school and went in to the regular, normal hearing school and never looked back. So I consequently don't know sign language.
Wow.
Well, I know a couple, but I can't do them on the show.
I think I know those same ones.
Yeah, they're useful on the freeway.
When someone cuts you off.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
I have to say this, Linnea. After reading parts of your book and going through your book, I want to say this up front as I'm talking.
Yes.
Right now on on the Skype part of what we do, my lips are not matching my voice totally. So it's a little bit difficult for Linnea to follow that. So I want to let people know that that may be what is going on.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
It's all
But
in
what I
sync.
wanted to say that what I became very conscious of and what I did today, and your name just rolls right off your lips and your tongue. So I stood in front of the mirror and I was saying Linnea Millette and watching how I formed the letters and how my mouth moved. So yeah, I feel like you gave me a gift that I can be aware of how I talk and how I speak. I
Yes.
became very conscious of that today. So I just want to thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome. And we all could benefit by speaking just a tad bit slower and with a little more articulation. There's a professor at UCLA who had done a study several years ago, and he showed that 55% of communication is achieved from the body language, 7%, no, like 16% from the face and the voice, and only 7% from words. So really, we the messages we get from one another is far more than just hearing what people say. And that's really an advantage to those of us who don't hear well, that the largest part of communication is achieved through watching a person's face, listening to their voice quality, and of course, watching their body language. Yeah. What's really frustrating, we all do this. I don't know why it is, even though my voicemail says, speak slowly and clearly, you're leaving a message for a hearing impaired person, especially enunciate numbers. People will say, hi, my number is 348 578. They just mumble the last four digits. And I find that when I share that with people, they laugh and say, yeah, that happens all the time. So you want to be cognizant when you're leaving phone numbers, even for perfect hearing people, to
Right.
articulate those numbers.
Exactly. I agree. I get that as well and I can hear and it makes me crazy because I can't, it's like what the heck did you even call me for?
Exactly. Right.
So you've kind of shared with us a little bit about how you became hearing impaired.
Right.
What is your life like now today?
Well, I'm living dreams. The life that I'm living now, I spent a good part of my childhood. When I say childhood, I mean early teens. I, I would say like 12 to 16, visualizing if only I could have the life that I'm living now. And that includes being confident, being well connected to the community, able to serve the community, having a job that I love and being valued at my job. Because when I started out, life is very, very difficult. And not so much the hearing, to be honest with you. I really did not fully embrace the magnitude of my hearing loss till I was almost 40. And that was due to the help of a therapist who recognized that I wasn't acknowledging how much I really don't hear. So up till then, the other challenges I was having was uh, incredible low self-esteem. My parents were very dysfunctional. They were lovely people, but very dysfunctional, and I absorbed their lack of self-esteem and confidence. So I had to work through that, work through a lot of addictions, food, drugs, alcohol, because I had clinical depression, runs in my family. And so I was self medicating. And I think this is something I really want to put out there to people. If you find that you're using a substance of some sort to manage your moods, it could be that you've got clinical depression and you might want to get that checked out. because that is a something that plagues a lot of people, and it could be the very reason why you find it difficult to set down some substances. There are, though, there are addictions, but there are coping mechanisms. And I have found that when you have clinical depression, nothing works. I mean, positive thinking and all that may help, but it really takes a medication to
Hmm.
get that in order. So anyhow, so I was dealing with not recognizing that I wasn't accepting my hearing loss. I was faking that, not realizing I had clinical depression and managing that with drugs and alcohol. Uh, Life was very challenging.
Hmm.
And then everything crashed down in 1995 at work. I foolishly volunteered for a position I had no business volunteering for. It was during a very ill fated reorganization in my office. I was put as
Oh,
a team leader, and the whole thing crumbled within a year and a half, and I was kind of the fall person.
Yeah.
And I was asked to leave the organization.
Wow.
And at that time, my parents had both died within 10 months of each
Oh,
other.
goodness.
And my marriage was on the rocks because I was super stressed and not the most pleasant person to be with. And it was a mess. And I told myself at that time, when I get out of this mess, I'm going to write that book I've been wanting to write for 20 years. And that pulled me through. I thought, I'm going to write about how I got out of this mess. And I did. Within 4 years, I completely turned everything around. And life is magnificent. I mean, of course, there are bumps, but
sure.
I'm living a very, very successful life. And I am very grateful. Very grateful.
Yeah, let's touch on that book a little bit more. Kathy and I were actually privileged to watch you debut this on, I think it was Craig Duswalt's stage. Was it
Yep.
last year or was it?
Yes.
Yeah. And it was
Hmm.
a very emotional moment, I'm sure, and there was a lot of passion that went into this book. And kudos to
Yeah.
you for completing it because it's no small task to write a book. And that
Yeah.
Kathy and I know because we're still working on ours. But
Yeah.
wanted
I
to
followed Craig's 30 days to write and publish a book, but it took me 9 months actually. But by God, I got it done.
and you got it
And
done.
that's amazing. It
And
is amazing anybody who wants to write a book, do it. The
absolutely.
feeling of accomplishment is amazing.
And it's amazing because you had a wonderful coach, and we love him too. And he makes it that much easier and less daunting to do so. In fact, in his boot camps, he gives enough, honestly, where you could probably write a book. It's just the
Yeah.
resources and everything tying it together that his
Yeah.
individual classes help. But her new book is "Read My Lips: Tips for Success." We have our very own autographed copy. It's
There you go.
signed
Yes.
somewhere in
Oh,
here.
we have.
Yeah. There it is.
And
Yes.
you talked a little bit about what inspired you to write it. Do you have what else inspired you to write this book? Please expand on that a little bit if you could.
I was raised in a philosophy that's basically change your thinking, change your life. And that's not, at least when I was growing up, the most popular way to approach life. So I had always felt that I wanted to share my perspective on that for people. So it had been an intention. I think everybody's got a book in them and intends to write a book. So that was my intention to share with people that you really can affect the outcome of your life through your focus, through how you talk to yourself. That's a biggie,
Hmm.
and what you predominantly focus on. As I was mentioning earlier, I spent a lot of time in my teens visualizing where I wanted to go. I did that because I had that knowledge that that was going to make a difference. And it did, because I am indeed living those visions that I so tenderly cherished in my teens.
Wow.
Well, your title is Read My Lips: Tips for Success. tips, strategies, and insights to embrace successes every day and create a life you love to live.
Yes.
And something that, and just going off here a little bit, something that I noticed in going through that I thought was really cool is you had like success tips, you have success tips in there, and then you follow it up with questions
Mm-hmm.
so that it gets you thinking about what it is that you just read
Yes.
and how they become applicable to whatever that section of the book is. So I thought that was brilliant. I really
Yeah.
like that.
It's kind of a call to action. Yes. Yeah. And
Yes.
everything in that book is, or the tip that I used, I was already aware of them. It's just, oh, I know it. This is what happened. This is so amazing. In 94, things were getting rocky. And I said to my mom at that time, you know, Mom, this positive thinking is BS. I'm going to just face reality. And I remember my mom just recoiled in horror and said, Honey, you're going to ruin your life. And I thought, "Ugh." Well, you know what? It did ruin my life. In 3 years, everything in my life was down the drain. From 1995 to 1998, they are the three worst years in my life. And they were the years where I decided to not try to accentuate the positive. And I'm telling you, it makes a difference. So, one of the first things I did was bring back all those tips and techniques and the knowledge I had of using your mind and your intention to change your life. I brushed them off and utilized them again and turned my life around again within 3 years. So it's real. It's real. The affirmative approach to things. It's not the Pollyanna. It's recognizing, yeah, but it's just knowing. I really believe that life is there for us, roots for us, and want success for us. We just need to get out of our own way.
Yeah, very well put. And how many times, Kathy, have we gone over this and heard about this from nearly every guest on our show, that the mindset, as we're talking about here, is so vitally important. And it's all about what you make of your own life. And it's very, very good words of wisdom from you, Linnea. And to hear it again, especially from someone so inspirational who has gone through the adversity you have, that makes it that much more powerful.
Thank you, Brian.
Oh, thank you. Yes, you're welcome. Uh, you've written a book, a huge accomplishment. Again, we reiterate that. That's a huge accomplishment. It isn't that difficult, but it's a huge accomplishment. 9 months, that's a long time of commitment. But what other things do you have, or endeavors are you embarking on, that you're spreading the word about this mindset and everything that goes with it, overcoming adversity message, in addition to your book? What else do you have going on?
Oh gosh. I've got about a half a dozen other books I want to write, and I was warned that's what happens when you write one book, a whole bunch of others, but it won't be as difficult. The first book is the most difficult. I have a radio show, Read My Lip Tip for Success, and I'm having so much fun with that show. The guests that are on there are usually people who have had a difficult challenge and have overcome the challenge. But also, I plan to have some guests that maybe didn't have a serious adversity to overcome, but they just have an extraordinary life and have tips on how to live that type of life. I have a gentleman that I just had the privilege of meeting named Fielding West. He's a magician. He's been a professional magician in Vegas for, I think, 30 years. And this man, I mean, you look at his face and you fall in love with him. He's just the epitome of somebody that's positive and giving and loving. He worked with hearing impaired children. That's kind of the how we connected. So I'm going to have him on the show next month. It's just somebody that we could all aspire to be like. Just an amazing, fine individual. And the way I handle that show, people go, well, how can you do that if you're half deaf? I handle that by having my guests tell their story and tell stories. It's more of a storytelling show than conversation, because conversation could be very tricky for me, being hearing impaired. And so far, it's going very, very well. I also continue to do public speaking. That I discovered when I went to a Toastmasters demonstration meeting. For those of you who don't know what Toastmasters is, it's a worldwide nonprofit organization dedicated to the goal of making effective communication a worldwide reality. So I went to a meeting in Santa Monica in 81, and I was so blown away. There was, I mean, the hair on my arms stood up, and it was just like this moment. And I said, this is for me. I'm going to do this. But it took me 8 years to get the courage to actually do it. And the funny story about that is I was dating a man who's now my husband, and we had been dating about 6 months. And I thought, this creep isn't going to cut it. So I thought I'd kill two birds with one stone, which is something I really try to do all the time. And I went to a Toastmasters meeting called Distinguished Singles with the sole intent of having some men lined up when I ditched this creep. But obviously that didn't happen. He became less creepy. We've been together 25 years. But that was how I actually joined Toastmasters. It's the wisest decision I have ever made.
Well, it sounds like on 2 accounts.
Yes, absolutely. So for anybody who has a fear of public speaking, you're not alone. The number one fear people have, there have been studies to show people would rather die than speak in public, which means they'd rather be in the coffin than delivering the eulogy.
That's right.
But when you take on a fear of that magnitude and tackle it, your life changes. Your self-image changes, your confidence changes, the way people respond to you changes. I think of everything one could do for themselves, public speaking is the most significant way to impact all areas of your life, personal and professional.
Wow.
Well, since we're talking about speaking, one of our viewers says, due to the difference in your speech, have people, because of that, have people thought that you were mentally challenged?
Probably, because that's a very interesting question. Probably because I sound dumb. Now, the speech you're hearing now is nothing like it was even 10, 15 years ago, because as hearing aids get better, I hear a little better, and my speech just naturally improves. So many years ago, it was very, very difficult to understand me. So I would imagine people equated that with not being intelligent. Yes.
I have to say this. When we first met you almost a year ago, I thought that you had a foreign accent before I knew that you were hearing impaired. I was trying to put my finger on it and I couldn't figure out what it was, but I did. I thought that you had a foreign accent as well. So
it's interesting, Kathy, when somebody has been around somebody with a hearing impairment, they know immediately that I have one. They say, oh, you're hearing impaired. Did you sign? But people like yourself who may not have been around somebody who's hearing impaired think it's an accent. That's why that opening line that I'm German works so well, because of all the accents I could have, the guttural sound of German really does fit how I sound. So, yeah,
I love it. That was a brilliant opening line.
it is. Yes. From Adam Ace is the person that gave me that line, and he's one of the clients in Craig Deswalt's coaching program. And I was telling Craig today, I called in on his radio show. I said that line from Adam Ace made the investment in the program worth it. In it, just that alone, because it I was really struggling to find a way to break that ice without saying, "Hi, I'm hearing impaired," and I have a speech impediment. And that's not funny. But saying I'm German is. So I really am grateful for that line. I use it all the time in my radio show. One of the first things I say is, for those of you who have not heard me before, I'm not German. I'm
Right.
hearing impaired, and then I go off, right. So,
Well, you know what's really interesting, based on the fact that you are hearing impaired and you do have a very slight, I don't, maybe it's because we've heard you talk and we're just becoming accustomed to it, but it's not real noticeable. Is it to you, Brian? I mean,
No,
to a real extent?
no. In fact, you can easily understand everything she says and never have to strain. You've really mastered it, Linnea. You
thank you,
speak very
because
well.
boy, it didn't used to be that way. I can remember talking to people, and they would just really strain to figure out what I was saying. Kind of like when you're listening to somebody who has a very strong accent and you're trying to figure,
Yeah.
that's how people used to, yeah. So I'm very, very grateful that for hearing aids. They're far from perfect. I say hearing aids suck. They do, but I'm grateful I have them. Well, they squeal. With my hearing loss, I have the big one that hang over my ear. So I can't really wear my hair up, and I'd like to. And
Hmm.
they squeal. I call them my little piglets. Uh, and what's really uncomfortable is being in an elevator, because in an elevator, it's so airtight, they start squealing, and people go, "What's that? What's
Been
that?" And
around.
I'm like, "Oh man, it's just the piglets."
Well,
So,
you
but
know,
clearly, I
uh,
could not be where I am without them, and they're expensive.
yes, my cousin, I have a cousin who is hearing impaired, but not as to the degree that you are. But hers squeal too. She has tiny ones, and I can hear them. They're very high pitched when the battery goes out.
Yeah, yeah.
But with that being said, and what we have been talking about the last couple of minutes, how on earth did you decide to go into public speaking of all things?
Oh, I know. Isn't that unusual? I
Yeah.
It seemed, well, I can tell you the single incident that told me this is something that I probably was born to do. I was in junior high, and I was teased unmercifully, mercifully. I always forget which way it should be. I was teased. We had to give a report in class. You know, those what did I do last summer
Yeah.
reports.
Oh,
You can
yeah.
imagine how terrified I was. And I figured the only way to get through this was just share my summer. I went back to Wisconsin, and my cousins had put what some laxative in water that
Yeah.
I drank, and the effects of that. And they laughed, and they loved that story so much. I, I didn't try to be funny. They were just not laughing at me, but laughing with me. And after that, I was teased much less. As a matter of fact, more people embraced me and offered me their friendship. That was pretty significant. I thought, there might be something to this public speaking. But the other turning point was being in Toastmasters and seeing all walks of life get up and talk eloquently.
Mm.
There was just uh, a voice inside that said, this is what you're here for. I love it. And I'm told that I'm very inspiring and a gifted speaker. So I honor that and I'm running with it.
Well, I gotta say, I think you should be a stand-up comedian too.
I'd love to do that. That reminds me, one of the reasons that I was nominated for the True Bruin Chancellor's Award, which is really an honor, is one of many reasons. But one is because I take what I do at UCLA, I'm a training coordinator. And what I do is take the boring topic of research administration, which is about all the red tape that surrounds the research funding that comes in for the professors. We teach the research administrators about all that red tape so they can keep the investigators out of jail.
Oh,
I take that, well, we're exaggerating, but really the professors think this is my money and I can do what I want with it, and that is not the truth.
oh,
And I take that very dry topic, all that bureaucracy, and make it somewhat entertaining, which is pretty amazing, both in e-learning and in the class. So, because I facilitate the class and come up with witty comments or whatever, I don't know how I do it. It's just something that I do. And the person that nominated me appreciated that ability to take such a dry topic and make it somewhat digestible in humor. Yes.
You know, I wish more people would do that because it does keep the interest level. And people who know Kathy and I know that we like humor just a little bit. And
Yeah.
it what is life without humor? I mean, if you're not
Oh,
going to have
yeah.
fun in life, why go through life? That's my motto. But it's
good.
just a great thing. I wanted to do a quick shout out. We have not yet taken the opportunity, if I may, and tell folks that are watching this show right now, and don't do this right now because we are watching the show. It would be rude to leave us. But after the show's over, right above us, you see a picture of Linnea. Click right on her nose, the still picture up there, not the one moving down here. And you'll be taken directly to her Facebook page. So connect with Linnea, very inspiring woman. That way you can get to know her on a more personal level. Now, for those of you that are interested in what she's doing, where she's speaking, what types of coaching programs she offers at the moment, you look beneath us, that nice round logo, Read My Lips, Tips for Success. Click on that, and she's going to be sharing with us a few goodies, so be sure to stick with us to the end of the show. You don't want to miss that. She's offering a few little goodies that are phenomenal, and we appreciate it and can't wait for you to reveal that, but we're going to play that little tease game and not give it away just yet because, honestly, we want you to stick around for the show, you know?
Oh, I want you around too.
All
You
right.
know, it's only 20 minutes left. I happen to come bring me my cat. On my radio show, I'm always giving updates on my cat.
Oh, sure.
And people have emailed saying, well, we want to see what your cat looks like. So I thought I'd bring him in, but he's not around right now. His name's Wilson. He's named
oh,
after
well,
the volleyball and pathways.
Ah,
Yes.
love
He
it.
has asthma.
that's
He's
too funny.
overweight. And he's a very, for those of us who love animals, you know, they really go in deep here. Yes. That's a tip for success. Get an animal.
There you go. So, what message do you have for the business owners that might be listening to or and watching the show tonight, and for the recorded version as well?
I One of the things I'd like to share, and this was echoed by Larry Broughton, who did that incredible keynote at the boot camp. Wasn't that amazing?
You know
That
what? He's
99%.
so talked from his heart.
Oh, does he ever?
Beautiful.
Ah, that 99% of success is failure. My life really took off when I made it okay to make mistakes. And as a hearing impaired person, I'm often in a position of being embarrassed because I don't hear something, or misunderstand. So once I embraced the 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 gift that mistakes and adversity and chaos have to offer, if we can but look for the gift rather than react in horror that we are imperfect for making the mistake or the blunder or whatever, uh, that will really accelerate not only your success, but the quality of your life. You won't spend so much time beating yourself up.
Wow.
You too, would you agree with that?
Could
Yeah.
not agree
Yes.
more.
Oh, here comes Wilson, my husband coming in to bring my
All
cat.
right, bring on
Oh,
Wilson.
Here he is.
Wilson's going to be a
Here's
star.
Wilson. Okay, everybody, here's the cat. There's Wilson. Hi, everybody.
He's acting a little camera shy.
You know, only people that love animals can appreciate the insidiousness of what I just did. So, thank you, honey. You want to poke your head in and say hello? My husband's shy. He shouldn't be. He's very, very handsome.
Oh, come on in.
Tell
Come
him
on in.
Head in. Poke it in.
But anyhow, so that's one tip. Oh, there he goes.
So your husband is only a hand. Okay.
He's a violinist. He has his own quartet
Wow.
or duet or duo, or even he plays solo. He also substitute teaches, and he's so handsome and he's very physically fit. Unlike his wife, he exercises 7 days a week.
Yikes.
So when he teaches elementary school, the little girls give him love notes. It's so cute. They have crushes on him, and the boys ask if he's a movie star. So, yeah.
Well, you know, he looked familiar. Does he do hand modeling? Could have sworn I've seen that hand somewhere before.
That's hilarious. Well, you know, you were asking if Brian and I feel some of the same things where, you know, we worry about how we're going to be perceived.
You know, I really I'm sorry that we had the interruptions and stuff with Skype, but isn't it amazing, this technology?
It is true.
It reminds me of when color TVs came out and everybody was green for a while, or for many years. And that's what this is. It's a new frontier. So It's exciting. It's an exciting time to be alive, this internet stuff.
Yeah. I had your video for a moment. Please recycle, both of you.
There you are.
Had it for just a second, and folks can hear us, should be able to hear us at this point.
Okay.
We're just bringing the video aspect back in and there's Kathy's video. Still, we're going to get Linnea. She's coming.
Yeah.
Actually, can you still hear us, Linnea?
Yeah.
Okay. We don't have your live video feed, so you may want to cycle that one more time.
You want me to push the video button?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay.
And we will get everybody back and continue on.
Perfect.
Am I there?
You're spinning.
There we go. Right on.
There we are.
We are back. Technology today. If it weren't for it, we wouldn't have had a show at all. So we're very grateful that we have the ability to do it. Even if it gets interrupted now and then, it's always improving. Where were we?
Well, I just wanted to chime in on what Kathy was saying in the beginning of the show. You do stay cool, calm, and collected with all these technology glitches. You wouldn't be able to do this if you didn't have that ability.
Yeah, it didn't come.
I acknowledge it.
Thank you. It didn't come automatically. We went through our trials through, this is, I think, our 58th show now. So almost nothing surprises us anymore. And the show will go on no matter what. We always find a way to get it back. So it's just
That's
an honor.
one of the gift that being in Toastmasters does is you very rarely does everything go 100% perfect.
Yeah.
So when you're in Toastmasters and things keep going wrong, because things always do go wrong,
Yes.
You just learn to roll with the punches and stay calm, and it's a real skill to acquire. That's helpful. It's not helpful to freak out, that's for sure.
Right.
That's for sure.
I mean,
Yeah, all common sense seems to go out the window at that point.
Right. Yeah, stress makes you stupid.
it may just add to the entertainment value of the show, though. We could try it once.
Freaking out
uh,
on, yeah, maybe, you know what? Yeah, that might be a good one.
I love it.
I have to tell you that your humor and wisdom and just everything about you is just so absolutely wonderful. I am
Thank you.
so thankful, and I know Brian is gonna. Yeah, he's just. I can see it in his eyes. We just both concur. We are just so grateful that we have gotten to know you.
Well, I am grateful that you invited me to be on the show, and I so appreciate the way you guys deliver those prizes at the boot camp. For those listening in or watching, the first time they were Superman and Superwoman, right? And
Yeah,
then the second time they were Rocky and Rocky's assistant. But they do it with real pizzazz.
the
Oh,
ring
thank
girl.
you. You know what that tells you, Linnea? We're just slightly off our rockers.
I love it.
I was actually given the term goofballs at one point.
Oh,
But it's actually that's actually something we do, and we raised our hands immediately when Craig said, "I'm looking for somebody to don these capes and run up the middle of the aisle." We didn't know we were being chosen for that until 15 minutes before we started doing it. But
uh,
you get added exposure. Maybe you're a little goofy, maybe you're a little bit out there, but people will remember you. But to be honest, it was just flipping fun. We had a great time.
well, it looked like you were having fun, and I
Yeah,
know the audience enjoyed it.
thanks. Yeah,
So,
we got to be very creative with that because the second one, we had no clue that we were even going to be doing it. And then Craig was yelling out, "Get those thingies!" And I'm looking up, saying, "What are the thingies?" And someone said, "Boxing gloves." Okay, just roll with it. Like you said, nothing ever
I
goes
love
perfectly,
it.
and sometimes you just gotta expect the unexpected and just have fun with it, and everything comes out great.
Yes, yeah.
well, the other thing that I wanted to kind of interject here is that you not only bring insight and wisdom to people in business, but you also are an advocate for other people with adversities and disabilities as well. So that speaks volumes about who you are as a woman and as a person. So I
Yep.
just want to say that for anybody that has the opportunity, and Brian's going to share where they can find your book, they need to get your book and read it because it is jam packed with tips, success tips, life tips, tips. It just has a lot of wonderful information that will impact the reader to stimulate them to think in a different way, look at life and their business in a different way. It's very, very valuable in for a book this size. It is jam packed with some phenomenal information. So, Brian, do you want to tell everybody about where they might find it?
Yeah, actually, click on the link below, and that will take you to her main website. And from there, maybe Linnea, you could help us out. Do they go to the books link, or where can they
Yeah.
land to actually take advantage of acquiring your books?
On the on my Read My Lip Tip for Success site, there's a book tab, and there you can order the book, a hard copy, which then is lovingly kissed with my lips and autographed and shipped to you. And it's also available in digital format. And for those listening in this show, if you email me, I'll be glad to give you a code so that you can acquire the digital copy of the book with my compliments.
Very nice. And do they have your email address, or do we need to give that out on the show
It,
here?
it's it's LM for Linnea Millette, LM at readmylipstips.com. LM at readmyliptips.com.
Okay. And lips,
Delighted to share.
Lips is plural, correct? Has an S?
Yes.
Okay. So that's LM for Linnea Millette at readmylipstips.com. And don't forget the tips. How many times I went to your, thinking I was going to your site, and I kept leaving off tips. I said, that's not it. So read my lips tips. Don't forget the tips.
Now,
Excellent.
Linnea, you have a newsletter as well, right?
I'm going to be launching that in April. Yes.
Oh, okay.
And what
Okay.
that will be is a very short newsletter that comes out on Sundays with just a couple of words of wisdom. I'm a real advocate and practitioner of WOW's words of wisdom. They really change the way I show up in the world. So the weekly newsletter would have a wow for the week and a word for the week. It will also have a link to a screensaver if you choose to use it that way. A beautiful photograph with a meaningful quote, emblazed on it, or you know how that is,
Right.
on the photograph. And maybe just a couple quotes or a recap of the guest that was on the radio show the week before. Just a way to start your week off on an affirmative note.
And one more thing I was not aware of before tonight, because I just sat down and read things that you're up to. One of those is you are planning a live event in October. Is that true?
It was in October. I have postponed that until February.
Okay.
To give myself more time because I really want to develop a knockout program. In October, given everything that I'm doing, it's just too soon.
Understood.
So it'll be in February 2012. And that'll be on the fan page on Facebook,
okay,
as well as in the presentation and events tab in my website.
Beautiful. So anyone that wants to find out how that's progressing, the obvious place to connect with her is on her fan page. And but also be sure to opt in to her newsletter so you can receive that with those tips each and every week. This has been a wonderful, wonderful time with you, Linnea. We can't thank you enough for gracing our stage, so to speak, with us.
Thank you.
You truly have an incredible presence on stage, and you only were given a very short period of time up on Craig's stage, relatively speaking, and you commanded the stage so well. You're such a natural that Toastmasters training and your stick-to-itiveness and you're just an inspiration to us all, and we appreciate everything you've done and what you're doing with this adversity that's been given to you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your compliments, your praise, and especially for the invitation to be on your wonderful show. It was great fun.
Brian, very, very well said. My sentiments exactly. And what happens every week, Linnea, is we come to the top of the hour and it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe an hour has passed.
I was just thinking that.
And that has certainly happened again as it does each week with you here tonight. So I just want to agree with Brian and with everything that he said as well. From the bottom of my heart, Brian, in addition to, along with, I'm getting tongue-tied. Just want to thank you so much. And we're, again, so grateful that we had the opportunity to meet you a year ago, that we've continued to connect and share with each other's lives, and look forward to the next book that you're going to be rolling out, and certainly for the event that you're going to be putting on in February. Linnea, thank you so much again for joining us. I'm going to turn it back over to Brian.
Yep. And
everybody, read my lips. If I can do it, you can do it too.
Words to live by, absolutely. And that's the truth. She said it better than anyone could. Linnea, thank you once again so much. We look forward to meeting with you more often down the road, both in person, Facebook, telephone, however. We definitely want to keep in touch with you and track your progress, and perhaps have you back on another show to see what you're up to then. But with
thank you, Brian and Kathy. Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. With that, we'd like to honor our viewers' time as well. It has come to that time, unfortunately, where we must sign off. Be sure to tune in next week. We have another fantastic guest lined up. Can't wait to introduce her to you as well. Until then, have a wonderful evening. We'll see you all next week. Good night now.
Good night.